If you've tried everything with your curls and you're still not getting results or they're not lasting, I can almost guarantee that there's something that still needs tweaking in your routine. This video responds directly to the most asked questions and concerns from my beginner curl series. My name is Gina if you're new here, and on this channel, we simplify curly hair so it works with your lifestyle. Let's walk through the 5 areas that I see you and my clients most often get stuck. First question I see across the board on a lot of my videos and all the videos in the beginner curl series is, does this apply to my hair type? Or I'll see comments that say, what about my 2A hair or my 2B hair? Or what about if my hair is fine or if it's color treated, gray, low density? We all have different hair types, and I totally understand where this is coming from. Especially when you're seeing something work for someone else's curls, but your curls aren't working out, it's easy to conclude that your hair type is the exception. I just want to note that for the hair typing system like 2A, 2B, etc., that doesn't matter that much. That only tells you what your hair looks like. It doesn't tell you what your hair needs or exactly how it's going to behave, because there's other factors at play, like your hair's texture. Is it more fine? Is it more on the coarse side? Is it low density? Those things matter, and that combination of your hair type matters more than anything. And 2 people could have the exact same curl type number and letter, but have completely different hair because of those other factors. But the thing is, the frameworks and the methods that I've taught in this beginner curl series apply to all hair types. If you have some sort of texture to your hair, if it's wavy, curly, or coily, you can try these methods. This has been proven across multiple different profiles of hair. And I know this because my curl coaching clients have all different hair types. I've coached hundreds of clients, and at this point, I've really honed in on what my methods are and what works through a lot of trial and error. And I've seen that success. I've also seen this success with so many of you here on my channel, and those of you who were commenting that it did work for you on the beginner curl series videos, and you all have different hair types. Of course, there's no one size fits all routine or method, but what I'm teaching you is those signs and symptoms to look for. And in fact, when I start working with new clients, I don't even need to know their exact hair type. What I do ask them is, does their hair tend to get weighed down with moisture or not? That's a sign and symptom. And then I ask them if they have damage or not, because that tells me if I need to add in certain treatments in their routine. And then I still teach them the same methods and they still get results. What we do is we tweak small adjustments to that method to make it work better for them, but the foundation still applies to all. So you don't need a completely different routine. You need the same baseline foundation with those small tweaks here and there, and that's what I teach you to look for. That leads me to the next most common comment that I saw across the entire beginner curl series, and that was, I'm using the right gel and I'm doing what you said, but I'm still getting frizz or my curls still are not lasting. This is one of the most common troubleshooting questions that I see, and that's the reason that I talk about it constantly. While yes, you could have possibly chosen the wrong gel for your hair type, and I talked you through in the moisture hold balance framework how to identify if the gel is the problem, but say you have identified the gel is right, but you're still not getting that hold. Maybe your hair doesn't even dry with a cast, or it's not making it through the end of the day. When a client or a viewer tells me this usually points to their product application and also their styling, but we already covered styling in this series. But what I didn't touch on that much was the gel to water ratio. This is so important, and this is one of the key things that I teach within my method, because you really have to dial in the amount of product that you're using and the amount of water that you're using, because those things interact and they can easily throw each other off balance to where you're not getting enough hold. I did briefly mention this in the styling techniques video as well as the first wash day experiment video, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about it because it is so important. When we talked about the best strong hold gels, I mentioned how gels tend to vary in their hold level, and then also how gels vary in their slip amount versus their texture and grit. And those things are kind of opposite. You can revisit that video to see what I'm talking about. But basically, some gels are more slippery and watery, whereas other gels are thicker and have that thick consistency to them. This is important to understand the difference because you'll have to adjust your water to product ratio when using them. Thicker gels, for example, the 2 that I keep mentioning in this series are the Curlsmith Fragrance-Free Stronghold Gel and the Not Your Mother's Curl Talk Gel. So if you look at the consistency of these 2 gels, they are very thick, which makes them hard to apply and they don't have much slip. So that means you need more water. You need to up the water content in not only your hair, but also add water to your palm to help them spread better and to give you that slip. They have so much hold to them that they can withstand being diluted with some water. And in fact, I recommend it. Then when you look at the more slippery gels that I recommended for hair types that need a little bit more slip and moisture, in this series, I talked a lot about the Weedad Advanced Climate Control Gel and also the AG Liquid Effects Gel. Both of these have that thin, slippery consistency, which means you're probably going to need more gel, so you need to up the gel amount, and you probably need less water. Try one or the other first though, and that goes with both of these. Don't change both of those things at one time. If there's anything I taught the most in this series, it's the importance of changing one thing at a time. So if you tried these two gels specifically and you didn't get hold, I challenge you to use more. I can almost guarantee you're not applying enough. If you've determined you are applying enough, then maybe try decreasing your water next time. And if you're still not getting hold, then these gels are just too moisturizing for you and you need to try something else like the other two that I mentioned. To better troubleshoot though, you need to look at when the hold is breaking down in your routine. If your curls are looking stringy when you're styling, so they're not clumping, or if you're noticing your gel is hard to apply and you're seeing like patchy areas of frizz during styling, then that means that you need to increase your water content. Water helps to form the curls before your gel sets them. If your curls look fairly defined while they're wet, or maybe they're very clumpy, but they dry frizzy, or they don't even form a cast, then that tells me that you either didn't apply enough gel, or more likely you applied too much water. So yes, there is a little bit of overlap, but these are the things that you can tweak one at a time. If your curls did form a cast, but they fell apart by the end of the day, meaning they didn't last you even one day, then that usually points to your gel does not truly have enough hold for you and you need a different gel, or your gel was diluted by too much water. So you had too much water, so the curls didn't quite hold up, or not enough gel. See what I mean? If you're finding this video helpful so far, or if you've learned something, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. It's totally free. Another one of the most common questions or concern that I saw was, do I actually need to diffuse? Or some of you said, I don't have a diffuser, what should I do? Or diffusing just makes my hair frizzy. Or I prefer air drying, or I don't want the heat damage. These sound like different questions, but they're all pointing to the same uncertainty, which is diffusing solving a problem that I actually have? I just want to say diffusing is not mandatory. I don't make all of my clients diffuse, and you all certainly don't have to either. But what I do want you to understand is when it's useful for solving specific curl problems that you might have. Those include getting more volume in your hair, improving the overall shape of your hair, so maybe making it have a little bit more lift on top compared to just on the bottom, setting the curl structure, meaning your wave or curl pattern, setting your gel cast quicker, improving your longevity, or drying your hair faster, especially if you style at night and you need to go to bed because you don't want to go to bed with wet hair. If air drying already gives you the results that you want and you're not experiencing any of these problems, then you certainly don't need to diffuse. And many of my clients choose this for the exact same reason. I was just telling a new client this the other day. She asked me, do I really need a diffuser? And I ran through this checklist and she said, I'm actually good with all of those things and I style in the morning, so my hair has time to dry before bed. I said, totally fine, keep air drying. But if you are struggling with any of these things, or if you're telling me that you're losing definition, your cast isn't setting, your curls are starting to fall from that weight of gravity during that long air drying process, then you need to incorporate diffusing. If diffusing gives you frizz, then that usually points to a diffusing technique issue. So I would need to see you diffuse, which is why I asked to see all of my clients diffuse. Or it points to the diffuser design not quite being right for your hair type. If you caught the video that I did on the only tools and products you actually need, as part of this series, I covered what to look for in your diffuser design and what to not look for and why that's really important. Because you can't just buy any old diffuser, you need to pay attention to the prong length, how large it is, how hot does it get. There are important signs to look for that I cover in that video. This is the Curlsmith Diffusion, by the way. This is the one that I typically recommend because it checks all of my boxes, but you certainly don't need this one. Check out that video because I show you what to look for when shopping, but I can link this one for you below because it is one of the best. And I know some of the other concerns is the price or they can't afford to buy one, and totally fair, but you can certainly get something that is very cheap. Even if it doesn't check all of those boxes on what to look look for, it can still help improve your results, and you really need to work on your diffusing technique. And I cover the different ways to diffuse in that styling techniques video in this series. Some of the common mistakes that often cause frizz are touching the hair too much while diffusing, moving too quickly, not quite placing it just right. So if diffusing makes your hair wonky shaped or not curl, it's because you're probably not quite scrunching it just right. And these are little things that are hard to spot on your own, and they do take some practice. But one of the big things, especially when people tell me that diffusing causes their frizz, I look at the products that they're using and their routine before diffusing, because if you don't have enough hold in your hair, the diffuser is just gonna make it worse. So the decision to diffuse or not should ultimately depend on the results you want and the problems that you're currently having. Next thing I hear all the time is, I've tried everything and my curls still aren't lasting. Or why don't my curls last? You're telling me they should at least last into day 2 and they don't. Or some of you might say that my hair type just doesn't hold a curl and I've accepted that, or I just have to wash every day, or I just have to restyle every day. Now, I know we already talked about the gel to product ratio, and that does play a role here, but I want to zoom out a bit because there are multiple factors that contribute to your hair lasting. And while yes, that is true sometimes that certain hair types do need more frequent washing, I can almost guarantee that something else can be tweaked in your routine to at least get your curls to last through the end of wash day and into day 2. So if we zoom out at the factors of longer lasting curls, I'm gonna put up my handy pie chart here that I created, which pretty much formed this entire beginner curl series. We've now done a video on each one of these pie slices, and all of these things contribute to whether if your curls last or not, or if you can get those results that you want. So most of the time, if your curls still won't hold, there is one piece of this pie that is still missing or needs dialed in, and you might not always be able to figure that out completely on your own unless if you do the right trial and error process and revisit all of these. Side note, there's one piece that's not quite covered here, and that is external factors like the weather or your environment, or maybe you did a really hard workout or were outside in the rain. Those are those external factors and those other circumstances that certainly contribute here. You could do all of these things correctly and then still have something that messes with your results. But what I'm talking about here are those main things. So when you're looking at these 4 factors, you need to look at when your hold is breaking down or when things are starting to fall apart. If they don't last through the end of day 1, you need to revisit your products, which is what we covered in the moisture hold balance framework. That has to do with balancing moisture and hold in the products that you select at all 4 steps of the wash day routine process. If your shape or your curl definition doesn't look quite right after you finish diffusing, then that typically points to your styling or your diffusing technique. Or maybe you have that patchy frizz that I mentioned, that's really an application issue. So you should revisit the first wash day experiment video that we did, or the styling techniques ladder that includes different styling techniques to try, as well as different diffusing techniques to dial it in for your hair type. So that shows up right after your hair dries. Now, if your curls look worse the next morning, meaning they got messed up while you're sleeping, that's your sleep protection, which we already covered on how to choose the right sleep protection method. And if the next day or a couple days after when you go to refresh, if it just makes things look worse, then you need to revisit your refresh strategy, which is what we covered in my minimal refresh method. So you see how all these things come together so nicely. So instead of changing everything or just saying this is never gonna work for me, I've just accepted I have to wash or restyle daily, take a look at these different pieces and make sure that you're covered. Do lots of trial and error testing, tracking your results, and I bet you could uncover something that needs a little bit more tweaking. Now, what if you've tried all that and it's still not working out? Which leads me to the next common thing that I see the most often, and that is when people are saying, I've watched everything and I'm still stuck. I've seen all of your free content, I've followed the beginner curl series, I've done lots of trial and error, and I'm still not happy, or my results aren't matching my expectations. That's basically what you're saying. This does not mean that there's no hope for your curls, or that your curls are just the exception, or that nothing's going to work for you. This means that that remaining adjustment is just not quite obvious to you, and you might need that outside opinion. And I know I've mentioned this briefly throughout the video, but it truly can be helpful because sometimes you don't always notice things that you're doing, or you might not pick up on those little details, because we all know how finicky curly hair can be, and you know how you change one little thing and it completely changes your results. Those little details are hard to spot. And I know that at this stage, you're not missing effort. I know you've tried and you've put in the work, hopefully, especially if you're watching the beginner curl series and you've tried all of these things and you've done your testing and things are still breaking down. And yes, there are those outside factors, which that certainly could be a factor here where there's those environmental things at play, but you should be able to identify those if you've ruled out all things. What I first recommend people do in this case is, again, revisiting the beginner curl series and doing that testing. This is where that tracking can be really helpful. So jotting down notes, documenting your results, because you do have to get pretty specific with it if you're trying to identify a problem. So that's really the way to DIY it, or to try and figure things out on your own, is go through that series, watch the free content, documenting and adjusting your results. And when things truly don't work out, that's when I recommend getting that outside opinion through outside help, such as curl coaching, which is what I do with my clients. So we go through all of our modules, which is similar to what I taught in this series, but we go a bit deeper and it's more personalized to your hair type. So when I'm taking you through all of those things, I'm looking at your specific hair. And I'm also teaching you how to do that on your own. Be able to understand those signs and symptoms in your hair to know what to tweak. And that really takes time and practice, which is one of the main reasons I made my program at least 3 months long, because it really does take that time to build consistency. And that's what I want. I don't want you guys to just have one good wash day and then tomorrow things break down or your next one flops. Like, having someone in your corner can really help with that. But if you don't want to do the coaching route, that's what the beginner curl series is for. So I hope you enjoyed this series. I certainly had fun making it. And while this video is kind of rounding it out, and I did want to check in with how you're feeling on it, it's not completely over. I'll probably still add some things here or there. So if there's something that I didn't cover that you still need help with, please leave those below. I'm always open to taking requests, and I can certainly keep adding to this series. So revisit those videos and those playlists, see if you can identify when things are breaking down, at what point of the wash day routine or overnight or the next day. And if you've already done that and you've decided, yes, I need that help, I want to finally get things figured out, and you're ready to invest in figuring things out, you can check out my curl coaching program. Details are below for that. You can get in now for the summer program if you want to save your seat early. You can reserve your spot early for the summer program because spots fill up quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and link you to the beginner curl series playlist right here on the screen. Make sure you go back and revisit these videos. Make sure you didn't miss one. Make sure that you revisit the one where you think things are breaking down the most. And I hope you find it helpful. I hope you've enjoyed this series as well. And I will talk to you over in those videos. Bye, everyone.